Okay, I have good news other than just what's been going on here. Quickly regarding YouTube. That video that was bugged out that I couldn't access because I'm Canadian and our own uploaded video that got blocked in Canada, that's been resolved. My friend from the United States logged in, they privated the video, so it shouldn't be bugged out anymore when you go to our YouTube channel. I had that same problem, and it's so dumb. When you own the channel, you shouldn't be blocked from your own content. But hey, you live and learn! Alright, it's game number 1 for a brand new best of 3. This is the winner's match. Hearthstone in the chat, what's up, dudes? Is Bly vs uThermal live? Question mark? No, this is definitely a rerun from replays from 2017. We're ESL_SC2. No, it's live. Spawning here at the bottom left side, kicking things off. He's gonna be our blue Terran, rocking those Team Liquid blue colors. It's uThermal. And his opponent to the upper right, the red Zerg Bly, just joining a brand new team recently, Wendigo Gaming. Wendigo Gaming. Or Wendigo? I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong. I'm just now learning about the team. But Bly and uThermal actually have some recent history. As I had mentioned, I believe it was just last weekend. Wow, I said that word really weird. Weekend? They played in some OSC tournament where Bly beat uThermal 2-1, going the distance for all 3 games over there. I'm not sure if we'll see a repeat, but that's some good context because for me, I actually don't see a world where Bly would normally beat uThermal. Granted, Bly has some of the most tenacity, and he can sometimes be one of the cheesiest players to deal with, and maybe that's how those games went. I don't know, I didn't see them. What I do know for certain, though, is that uThermal's still my favorite in the matchup. I think his Cyclone Hellion play right now is so gross and difficult to deal with. And if he's forced into playing Bio, well, I think he's even better with Bio, personally. So, this match, this series, all of the weight of this, I think, is on Bly. Because I've got lots of expectations for uThermal to do well. But that's just from my perspective. And I'm biased as fuck. So, we'll see how it actually plays out. Regardless, I will once again remind you guys, this is the winner's match. So the loser of this is not out of the tournament. The loser of this will face off against Gung Fu Banda for the grand finals of the group, for that last spot to move on to the playoffs. And if you guys have enjoyed this, make sure you tune in tomorrow as well. Just a casual reminder, Group B will play out. We've got Kelazur, Raynor, Clem, and I wish I could remember the other, Mana, off the top of my head. There you go. Tomorrow's going to be a really good group as well. Arguably, I don't know which group is easier versus harder. They've got terrifying players, but with Raynor having just secured a new title for himself, I think tomorrow's group looks pretty terrifying. And we should note that Clem actually chose that group. But more on that later. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Follow-up for this for now is Hellions, but he did a cool Marauder version of this. Not gonna happen this game. Feels sad, man. He'll just go for a normal starport, having a tech lab, like some kind of normie everyday Terran. But yeah, one of the games I cast, I believe it was versus Raynor, actually. uThermal did this Hellbat Marauder push that just destroyed the early game. And I was kind of looking forward to maybe seeing that repeated here, but nope. It's gonna be a Cloaked Banshee, which has been scouted. Bacon here, thank you for the 27 months and a little bit of groovy music to jam out to. Last time I saw Rifkin's back, I thought I was staring at a bear. Gobble gobble goo. New title, no longer the Italian Stallion. Yeah, new title, WCS Winter Champion 2019. It's a pretty nice title. Comes with some cash. The other title just rhymes. Who cares about that? Stig Vatland, thank you for the 29 months. All right, third CC in the wall. Okay, it's a little awkward, but you know what's a third CC coming down quick enough. Stim's been started up. We are going to get to see some bio this game. I'm quite happy about this. The reason I'm really happy about this is not just because I'm a fan of uThermal's multitasking. This guy can seriously turn the heat up to 10 when he wants to. But I know that Bly actually has a lot of really unconventional ways to juggle around Terran players who like to try and do multi-pronged attacks. Now, we can talk about Nidus Worms, we can talk about Mutalisks. The thing that I think makes Bly, I think one of the most terrifying things, and I'd love to get other pros' thoughts on this, I think one of the most terrifying things about Bly is not just his unpredictability, but it is his versatility. I wouldn't say his cheese is his strongest aspect. It's the fact that he can really subvert all expectations and catch you off guard in situations that should go one way and he makes them go another. And I'm being very vague with this description because I don't know what he'll do this game, but I've seen it all out of Bly. I have cast the weirdest to the most normal games out of Bly. And he's the most, I think, of all players I can think of in Europe, he's willing to do the most change-ups, if that makes sense. Anyways, we'll paint him in a good light if he can win this game. He's got to win it first. Because like I said early on, I still put all this on uThermal. It's Bly who's the challenger. uThermal's just here to win. Command Center moves over to this base. Okay, he'll take the one that's a little bit pocketed, and that's fine. Production's looking pretty sweet now. He's got all his barracks add-ons finished up. A little supply blocked at the moment, but that'll be fixed here very shortly. And surprisingly low losses in general this game. Now, drones have died, as expected. You've got a Terran player dedicated to harassment. You got 2 Banshees. Drones are going to die, period. But, to be honest, the amount that have died so far is fairly low. Grabbing 4 now total, but from this attack, 8 in general. And he's going to lose both the Banshees for it. Honestly, I would have loved to see those Banshees live for later fights or creep cleanup, but they really didn't pay for themselves this game. However, they did distract. They kept Bly on his toes at home instead of moving across the field, so uThermal was granted the freedom to set up this 3rd base. And in fact, he's even setting up a wall with it, which is kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and time out that message, the Santic, because, and I want to make this very clear to people, if you ever want to come to my channel with allegations about anything, whether it's against a player, a caster, a friend of mine, you better bring proof. You're going to throw out allegations like that? Okay, you lucked out, because I only timed you out, or deleted the message. That's something that I will so quickly ban, or our mods will so quickly ban. So look, again, you ever have any accusation against any players in my tournaments, I trust these guys implicitly. Unless you've got proof, I don't want to see any of that in my Twitch chat. Anyways, getting back to the game. The attack has been stunted out in the middle of the map. uThermal's in full retreat because combat shield's still not done. So he's going to bleed out a Hellbat or 2, but realistically, that's not too bad of a loss. The tanks are going to cover him at home, so he knows there's no real danger here, and this gives him time to get the combat shields finished up. Now, Bly is not necessarily all in with this, but his tech choices and droning has got me a little confused, because it did look like he was going heavy into the roaches, but maybe it was seeing the tanks, or maybe it wasn't killing enough units in the middle of the map. Either way, he's changed direction for things, and we actually have Tunneling Claws and Burrow, which will actually help heal up these roaches a lot. Oh, just Burrow will. I keep forgetting that they removed the extra regeneration off Tunneling Claws. Regardless, though, having gone back to droning a little bit gives him extra workers to saturate this base. He's sitting on 75 workers, which is nice. And, of course, going to give him some pretty good-looking income. uThermal bouncing around with mules is helping out, too. All right, well matched, well met so far. Both players have the tools for the job, but I don't have faith in Burrow roaches like I did in the past. They still move pretty quick, which is nice, but man, that healing was probably the greatest aspect to them. What if Rifkin does not want subs at all from Twitch chat, but instead is asking for subs from Subway? That's what I've been doing this whole time. Did you guys think that I wanted... I guess subscriptions and Subway sandwiches have the same abbreviation. That's awkward. I can see where you guys misunderstood. $5 footlongs, $5 subs. There's just a lot to be confused about, honestly. That was a massacre. Sorry, I didn't even hype that up because it wasn't. It was just a massacre. It was so one-sided. I don't know how Bly expected that to go. And frankly, gave away so much. Look at the resources lost after that engagement. That is a yikes and a half. He's got some banelings. Speed finished up here in about 5 seconds, so he's got to pull back. More roaches ready to go in for the attack, coming from behind. But, I don't know. There's turrets everywhere. Detections through scans. I don't think these roaches are going to get much done. And that's why I don't like his decision to go for them in the first place. It just feels like a big wasted investment. This hatchery, hopefully getting canceled. Nope, it's a kill. Oh, that's going to sting. Bly might have a lot of workers, but he doesn't have a crazy bank right now, so he can't really afford these losses. He's got to be very careful with how he engages here, too. Tanks are ready to snipe off the banelings. uThermal's quick on that focus fire a lot of the time. So Ravagers dive in, and he loses one, but takes out a tank. Creep spread's looking so good for Bly, by the way. All the way across the map here to the south. He's got a lot of terrain he can work with. He's setting up for a surround, and there's uThermal's on creep. If Bly does this correctly, I think he could actually crush this army, but... Oh, he's cutting off reinforcements. He's not getting that big surround. The Banelings are just pushed off before they even get anywhere close to the Marines. He tries to roll through, but it's not going to be enough. Coming in from the backside, the Roaches might be able to finish this off, however. Hold the phone. The Banelings looked a little bit weak, but the Roaches ended up clutching that from the backside. The reinforcements didn't really work so good here. Traded out for some Lings, for some Marauders. I don't know. That was a terrifying fight, and Bly managed to pull it off. Oh my god, he's just outside the range of scan, and it's so important he stop moving. I haven't really highlighted this, but if you are looking for burrowed roaches, you can see them. It's a big smoke monster under the ground. It's easy to identify. So the roaches move here. They do get caught, ultimately. It's going to keep uThermal at home. Killing a turret. Maybe knock down a depot and run out with a couple of units. I'm not sure what his plan is. It's a suicide squad of roaches that was never going to really be cost effective, and while Bly may have taken a good fight at home, he just threw away whatever he got out of that fight by giving away all these roaches. If Bly was on like a massive bank, massive gas, I would say fine. You know what? He gave up the supply in roaches. He'll replace it with supply in banelings or mutalisks, but I don't think he had... I don't think that was warranted nor worth it. However, he's double expanding as we speak. He still has a lot of drones to work with, and I guess income, if we take a peek, has probably been favoring him for some time, as uThermal's been burning a lot of scans and not a lot of mules. Fight looking to engage in the middle of the map. Quick shout out to my boy Bardino. I see you in the Twitch chat. What's up? This guy is the only one who's earned his VIP. I just want to throw that out there. This guy has been awesome. Behind the scenes, Bardino is a legit dude. All right, Crostable's not quite going to hit those medevacs the way he wants to. Softens up a little bit, but still, Bly's thinking a lot about harassment right now. He wants to use those mutas across the field, not bring them home defensively, but he might just need to. A lot of his roaches also sent across the map. He's got a skeleton crew at home trying to survive. He gives up the hatchery. He's just going to... I almost said ejaculate. Jesus Christ. He evacuates the drones to safety. Oh, so good. Mutas, on the other hand, are actually causing a lot of chaos. They pick off the medevac, and if they get on top of the reactors and the tech labs, that's really devastating to the Terran. But right now, he's got to deal with Marines before he can do that. Roaches get into the mineral lines, and I was really questioning Bly's choice here. That base, to give it up, was so expensive. If he had lost the drones with it, it would not have been worth it at all. But this is worth it. The amount of damage he's done with the mutas, the amount of army he's picked off. He almost killed the command center, for goodness sake. In fact, he's still fighting with the mutas. Goes for the dive. Oh, the SCVs are repairing it, though. Not going to work out the way he wanted it to. But this did a lot of damage. This was look at the catch-up. He was so far behind the resources lost. Now this is closer than it was in the last few minutes. Army supply all over the place, because as the mutas came in, they started plucking off these Marines and everything that was rallying out. uThermal was forced to bring his whole army back home to deal with this. This gives Bly that time to re-expand to the base he just lost, to be mining now with the drones oversaturated like crazy, but still mining off of this base. And I gotta be honest, guys, I was doubtful of Bly in almost every decision he's made this game, yet he's making this look good. He hasn't won this yet, and there's a lot of ways to throw between here and the end of the game. Don't get me wrong, but the creep spread is across the map. He's on Hive Tech. He's got infestors coming out. He's got every tool he needs to try and tackle this Terran army. So at the moment, I'm just like, kudos, Bly. You've subverted my expectations, as you always do. And somehow he's made it here, 15 minutes deep. Now, mutas aren't going to have a good time going in here. There's turrets and Marines. Realizing this, he backs away pretty quickly. Definitely the right move. Broodlords possibly on deck with a Greater Spire finishing up here soon. Upgrades will be not too bad, as he's been going through melee this game for his Lings and Banelings. The Broodlings will also benefit from that. I also doubted Bly this game, but he finessed his way back into this one. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Some questionable engagements for sure, and I don't feel like uThermal's done anything that's been too wrong, right? There's no glaring mistakes coming out of our Terran to say like, oh, Bly lucked in because uThermal started fucking about. Like, uThermal's still being very aggressive as he should. He's taking smart engagements. Bly's just getting, I don't know if it's luck or what, but he's making it work for sure. I mean, how many roaches did he lose in the early game, right? There was like 18 or 12 roaches that died to that tank massacre. It was embarrassing. You think he's just going to lose the game after that, but no, here he is. And once again, tunnel claw roaches getting burrowed underneath this army. Scans are going forward so they don't see the roaches get directly on top of the tanks. Unburrows focuses the tanks. Tanks got me. The Banelings can get into the fight. And even though there's a couple Marauders on the front line, those roaches are burrowed. This army's pushed back once again. Reinforcements are on the way, but the Banelings and the roaches, they actually catch some of the units here in the middle of the map. Blinding Cloud's also an option, which kind of cool, actually. Maybe abducts on the Thor. Either way, Bly has a great bank to work with behind this. You'll notice he's not maxed out on supply. This is kind of intentional, I think. He's just waiting to decide what units he wants to make next. Broodlords are going to be the option. God, I love TVZ, guys. Okay engagement here. Tank gets grabbed up to the high ground. Awkwardly actually puts it in range of the Banelings, but doesn't get a shot off. A fungal could be really sick here too. So uThermal's pre-spreading his units. He's anticipating that fungal. Here comes the Broodlords. Thor's in the wrong mode. If it's in single target, it can actually contest these Broodlords pretty decently, but not as is. So Broodlings should be able to hold this off. The base dies again, but he does evacuate most of the drones, so 7 die. He had these extra bases set up. He really needs to start getting more I was going to say more money, and that's not true at all. More production. I feel like at some point, Bly's actually just going to fall off and run out of larva. Maybe that's how a trade goes. Maybe it's not. It's classically how things tend to go in the matchup. But either way, can't critique him. His current standing army is looking pretty fantastic. He hasn't been struggling with larva too much up to this point. It's just one of those fears that the game goes longer. You start bleeding out these hatcheries. You don't replace them. You don't replace your queens. You're missing those injects. It happens a lot for the Terran, or excuse me, for Zerg in late game ZvT. Extra starports are coming down, and I do feel like these are a little bit desperate. You're like, okay, I gotta deal with these somehow. Let's just get a lot of Vikings. He's pre-spreading. He knows fungals are just around the corner. Fungals paired up with these Banelings mean death for the bio army. But look at those splits out of uThermal. Bly's not fungling, not because he's like feeling silly and not doing it. There's no opportunity. Everything that's fungalable is in like clumps of 3 at a time. Broodlords are brought up to the top of the ramp, and uThermal is actually pushing through this. I can hardly believe it. All right, forced down to the bottom of the ramp. Banelings come in. I love those blinding clouds. Focus fire from the Marines is still pretty good. Broodlord's going to hold on. Bly's not dead yet. But oh my god. Another pretty interesting engagement. Neither player is making big throws. And this sounds like a non-point to make. But let's be honest with ourselves. How many times you watch a game of StarCraft 2, your favorite player's ahead, and they throw the game away? It's sad to say, but it happens a lot more often than you would think. And that's what I'm just sitting here like on the edge of my seat waiting for somebody to make that big mistake. Broodlords dedicate to the wrong side of the map. Corruptors leave the Broodlords exposed so they get grabbed by Vikings. There's a lot of ways this could go wrong for Bly or uThermal, but both players are still playing so strong. Now money is a big factor this game. uThermal's command center going like that, going down, he can't replace that. That's a rough loss to take, especially when your mineral patches are getting very limited. Same kind of things happening with Bly, but he's got more options. uThermal's very restricted on what he can do right now. And these few Vikings he's made are really the only Vikings he's going to have. 7 Vikings I don't think is enough to contest these Corruptors, much less do it in time that you can do with the Broodlords. Let's not forget, if a fungal growth hits these, that's going to set it up well for the Corrosive Biles on top of it. Where did Bly's bank go? Dude, he's been making Banelings and Broodlords this whole game. Like, he's gone for expensive units. He made 7 Infestors at one point. That was all the gas gone. In fact, he still has 7 Infestors in play. This should be manageable. While the Lings are not looking so good, they will kill, the Corruptors will kill the Medevacs. As long as there's no escape, uThermal can't rebuild his army. Every loss here for uThermal rings a lot harder than the losses for Bly. At double the income, Bly can afford to lose units. uThermal cannot. I don't like where this is going. I think the pacing is gone at this point, and I'm pretty confident uThermal's going to lose. I feel really bad saying that because I expressed my bias. I love watching him play, but the hype isn't there for this one. Oh no, here we go in chat with Bacon Hero. Thinks he's so funny. Got this weird catchphrase. Bacon, if you ever become a streamer and you make a shirt, that's got to be on it. All right. Fungal Growth, Infested Terrans, you name it. There's not much standing between Bly and victory in this game. The last few Vikings are getting picked off as we speak. And sure, the Corruptors might go down, but there's just too much to deal with. GG, ladies and gentlemen. Bly takes game 1 after a very long, well-fought battle. 21 minutes. Best of 3, boys. Also, like I said earlier, the last time these two met in tournament setting was last week, and Bly did win, so it's not super crazy. All right, welcome back. We're getting into game number 2. Spawning here on the upper right side of the map, we got our Zerg player. He's up 1-0 at the moment. It's Bly. And his opponent at the bottom left, down 1. Currently, it's uThermal. Now, I remind you guys, this is the winner's match. So the winner will move through the group, and the loser of this will fall against Gung Fu Banda for the final best of 3 today. But in terms of these questions about the headsets, guys, look, I'm super happy to talk about this, but I want to be informed. So I want to make sure that I'm not just reading off a script for you. Like, I want to play with these myself. So anything I say right now, you really got to take with a grain of salt, because I have not played with the headsets. They've literally just unboxed them with you here today. So, questions about like how to use them, does the cord only, I don't know, we'll find out. And I'll do it before the stream is over today with you, because I'm really excited to be working with these guys. Mass Drop has sponsored a couple of streamer friends of mine, and I've, to be honest, been super jelly because they look like a really cool company. They come by, they give subs out, they're very interactive. If we can get them on our side, that'll make this will be a sponsorship I'm stoked to work with. So again, you want to do your part, you want to help out, you want to make sure we continue getting good content, but you can't afford to buy stuff, go click that link. Yeah, I'm putting in the Twitch chat. Go click that link, guys. Check out the headsets, and if you are, I'm telling you right now, if it means you stop subbing for a year to buy one of those headsets, if they're good, if you do your research, if you hear it from me, all these things combined, you buy those headsets, cool fucking beans too. Whatever you want to do, you do. But as far as answering questions about the headsets, I've got a script I can read you right now, and that's it. As I play with them, I can be more informed, and I can tell you guys more information. But this isn't like a today only thing, so I don't want to go too much into it right now. We'll be talking about more tomorrow and the day after, because I just got to dive into playing with them. Because the other part of it too, right? As cool as a company like Mass Drop is, if at the end of the day their product is no good, I don't want to be shilling it out to you guys. So I was a little annoyed that I wasn't allowed to unbox them and experiment with them early, but I gotta be honest, they feel really high quality. So I'm very doubtful I'm gonna find something negative about them. What if we buy other stuff off their site? Do you get credit? I don't know the answer to that. I can look into it later. So thank you for asking, and I'll try to get you an answer when I can. Do they prevent audio from leaking out when you're watching something lewd? Yo, I had a guy on a plane who had earbuds that were not close-ended. And dude, you could fucking hear he was watching porn on that plane. I was sitting right next to him. So awkward. These are at least close-ended headphones, so I've got to imagine there's some degree there, but we'll listen. I'll leave my mic on, and I'll turn something loud on, and you guys tell me if you hear it through the mic. Hey, Course88, thank you for the 31-month resub. So a little bit of a recap, because we did take that break to do the sponsor spot. If you guys weren't here for game 1, it was honestly, it looked bad for Bly. So much of that game went poorly. He went for early tunneling claw. The roaches got obliterated by tanks because Bly didn't realize there's detection. Him being out of position cost him so much early on, and yet perseverance, tech swapping, variety, and most importantly, expansions kept Bly alive in that game. His creep sword was really good. Remarkable, so worth noting. But I think one of the parts that really impressed me was by taking aggressive hatcheries on opposite sides of the map, it reminded me actually of Impact and some of the other Korean players a few years ago. That was the style they did. They knew they would lose a base at some point, so you take 2. That way, when you lose this one, you just transfer the drones over to this one, and then it doesn't actually feel so bad on your economy. And for Bly's sake, I think all of those things tell me it's not a gimmick and it's not luck. And it was really good play. What headphones are we all talking about? Again, here's the link in chat. You want to click them? You want to check them out? These have not, like these are just brand new. But oh, Bly's going for a Nidus Worm, guys. And uThermal's not been able to scout this. He's been pushed out of the front. He's been poking at the third. And there have been some changes to the Nidus Worms. We should be clear, there's a reason you're not seeing all the pros do it on the WCS stream, right? It lost some of the armor. So Nidus Worms now only have 3 armor instead of 5 when I'm burrowing. They're not as unkillable as they were before, but they still have that pretty much instantaneous unload. It's really difficult to keep up with a player who can jump up and down, up and down. Bly, in fact, is going to have his first Nidus Worm spotted, but they're still cheap. 50 minerals, 50 gas. It is barely not going to go up by the looks of things. So great response out of uThermal, but oh, another Nidus Worm down here to the south. This one's actually kind of in a weirder spot. I don't know if a full surround from SCVs can kill this in time. Hellions come in. Does he get the unload? It's so close! Nope. All right, once again, pulling his opponent north to south, north to south. The reality, you know what? The 50 minerals, 50 gas, just forcing the SCVs to be pulled like this might be worth it for Bly. In fact, I highly suspect, yeah, on the income graph, every time he had to pull back, Bly's income actually started looking good. Now all these queens are here. The Banshee's hella low. This is bad. I don't know what uThermal does about this. But at the same time, Bly's all in. Like, he's got to do a lot of damage to make this worth it. Oh, the second Nidus Worm comes out over here. Mules were just dropped, fresh and brand new. He's now sandwiched between 2 terrible positions. He's got no income, no money, no nothing to work with. And uThermal might just be getting eliminated 2-0 by Bly at this rate. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but this isn't looking good. He's on 27 hours. The command center of the main's almost dead. He has to keep it landed. He can't just lift it. He needs the money. He needs the mule. He needs the energy. Fighting for his life here in the winners match. Down on his last life. This command center goes down, and that might just be game. SCV still pulled into the fight. This was such a big deal. The worker count gone. uThermal fighting desperately. There's nothing left to fight with, though. And even if these queens go down, GG's get called. Why? Yo, it's not, someone in there is going to be like, when did Bly get so impressive? It's not that when did Bly get so impressive. It's like, we keep forgetting that Bly is so impressive. So, GG's. Bly takes the 2-0. He'll move on to the semifinals, and the final match of the day is going to be Gung Fu Banda versus uThermal, which is not a rematch, but is the same match as the first series he played today against Geralt. Okay, so yeah, commercial break. I'm going to go test out those headsets and let you guys know. I'll report back in a sec. Thanks for watching. So good. Oh, wait, I'm not muted. Fuck.